I'm here downtown Orlando, actually on Huey and Church Street. This is the Amway building, the home of the Orlando Magic. You can see it's from 1989 to 2014, which is pretty significant time frame and where it's at. In Orlando, 1989 was the same year that I bought first house, March 1989. It's 25 years. I'm coming up to 214. And the house that created the 3 stars in Orion, and as I said, Orlando Magic pyramid text, and how this building, which used to be on, I believe it was Livingston, has been moved to this location on Church Street, right across the street from the SUNTRUST Center, which I said is 441 feet and recognized as the tallest building in Orlando, allowed. And you see the 4 pyramids. It's so similar color of the dollar, and it's not just a building, it's more something more significant to it, because of the fact that here's the magic, there's the building, SUNTRUST, going into the pyramid text, in God we trust, Amen Ra, Atom, the 441, 4, 8 plus 1 is 9, the great Anik, the 9 gods, the ones that they knew were coming back. Okay? Now, in order to take it a little bit more into consideration, to know what this is, they can see they're having their celebration of this year for Orlando Magic. Magic is here. And just down in the distance, you see the federal courthouse. Federal courthouse is where I was taken in 1980 or 1997. And I-4 here, which runs east and west. As I said, all these things seem to be along I-4. I-4, 4 eyes on a dollar, 2 on George Washington in the front, then reverse the dollar with the pyramid, the eye over the pyramid, and the eye from the eagle. And I-4 itself, where you have the Millennium Mall, it's off I-4, 33rd Street's off I-4, you have SUNTRUST Center off I-4, now you have the Magic Arena off I-4, and how I-4 represents the travel of the sun through the 2 zodiacs of Cancer and Capricorn, 2 time of years, winter solstice, summer solstice. This is not just a coincidence of being at Church Street, what I mentioned in the beginning, that kingdom come, the Lord's Prayer, and everything else that fits into the situation of there's a Church Street. Church, what is a place of worship? This here was Church Street Station, which probably was what brought downtown Orlando back to life back in 78, 79. And coming across a place that had a lot of tourism coming in versus the people that would come down as far as the locals. The only thing downtown here was a place, the Woolworth, the J.C. Penney's, all that shut down about 7 o'clock. But as you can see, this building here, when I first came here in 79, this is where I first opened my first bank account at. It was Sun Bank at the time. I was able to walk here from where I lived. And it was in 1987 that the transformation from Sun Bank to SUNTRUST began, with the construction of itself, the building, going from about, had to be about maybe between 5 and 10 stories, if that high, up to 35 stories as it is now. Again, it's the tallest building allowed in Orlando. Same as the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., being the tallest structure allowed in Washington, which was completed in 1888. This one was completed in 1988, 100 years apart. And what's significant about it all is that it's not just a building, because today we just deal with buildings as a place to live or a place to make money. And very superficial, but the idea is the architecture from the beginning still have a type of influence on the architects, even though they're building for different purposes. And what makes this significant is the fact that inside the Great Pyramid is granite. And here's the granite here. The granite itself is what made the pyramid significant, being that it has metaphysical properties to it. And these metaphysical properties are what create the building itself, gave it its power. Now, Orlando began as a settlement called Fort Gatlin. So look straight up the building. And we go down further. Fort Gatlin, going from Major Gatlin, Dave Gatlin, excuse me, and it was killed in 1835, the Seminoles. And from then on, the fort had been built, and what the town was called Jernigan's, and then later was renamed in 1857, September 1857, Orlando. Going from Jernigan's, who was a well-known family, to a person that was very, speculative who he could have been. Nobody really knew. Everybody kind of said he seemed like a mystery as to why the name was changed. But it had been. And my thing was that in 1857 was the same year that the Dred Scott case had been decided. And in the books it says that he was a slave owner, Orlando Reeves, and that he was killed in 1835. He wanted to wreck it, but he's not. Across the street, we got a new type of sculpture going up right across the street, which gives almost an image of some pyramids and a spear right across the street from the SUNTRUST building. So what you making?